guard Reggie Hamilton and Corey Petros. This time, Coach, you start us with an opening statement.
You know, you have a program like ours with the expectations that this program has, and sometimes you just forget about how nice it is to be able to win a basketball game. And that's all we're doing right now is we're just savoring in the fact that, you know, it's good to come back home and win a game and get this thing off our back and get going forward towards March. So really, really pleased with the results tonight. That was the team I remember watching in November tonight. That was the team that played those first, you know, 8 and 12 games when we were 8 and 4 and playing with all the big boys. So it was great to see that type of play and the offense, the way we played with such confidence on offense, which we haven't seen in a month. So very, very pleased.
We'll open up the floor for questions for the players.
Dan Sticker at NorthOaklandSports.com. This is for Corey Petros. What transpired in the last 48 hours after the loss here on Thursday? It looked like you guys were completely rejuvenated. You guys were attacking the basket, sharing the ball, things you weren't doing in the games earlier this week.
We just knew that we had to come out and play hard. We didn't want to go 0-7, so we just knew we had to come out and play hard and get this win.
Reggie, could you just talk about the lineup again this time? You guys got it done tonight. What was, I mean, it's sort of the same thing as Corey. What do you think was the biggest difference between tonight and Thursday?
Once again, I think that lineup is a great spark. You know, it gets other guys that's first had that position, you know, gets them hungrier and, you know, wanting to get that position back, so they appreciate those things. So once again, I think we came out with another spark, and tonight it looked way better than the other night. We were a more cohesive unit.
Brian Evers from the Oakland Post. Reggie, again, do you guys now, it's just one game, do you feel like you have that swagger back? And does it feel maybe a little bit like you come up from underwater, up for air, it takes a little bit of pressure off your back?
You gotta have that swagger, man. Win is win. That's the positive. That's what it's all about, is getting that win. So now, you know, it's all about March, though. You know, we win 3 games in March, we forget about the rest of this season, ever happened. So a win is a win. It's a great thing that happened.
Neil Rule with Oakland Radio. Corey, X's and O's aside and scheme and everything, all that stuff aside, it looked personal out there for you guys tonight. Was it personal?
I mean, the whole thing was losing 6 games straight, and we didn't want that feeling anymore. So I mean, we just knew what we had to do to come out and play, and we kind of took it personal, losing like that. So we had to come out with fire and just do our best and just play as hard as we can.
Matt Pocket, WXOU Radio. Reggie, you know, with Ryan Bass out there in the starting lineup and logging heavy minutes, what kind of different looks are you getting both on and off the ball, having another point guard out there?
Well, with Ryan's scoring ability, the guy, I noticed it earlier in the game, a guy on IUPUI, he was just pressuring me hard, so it gave Ryan a wide open lane several times, and I don't think there's a lot of players in the country that can guard Bass one-on-one, you know, that high. And I think he did great with this opportunity tonight and showed what he's been working hard on, and I'm proud of him.
For both players, I'll just ask Reggie first. You guys shot a lot better tonight, coming out with the 54% effort. Yourself individually 10 of 14. What was the biggest difference tonight?
Well, you're going to shoot it, it's either going to go in, it's going to go out. You know, the thing that's go through our minds is try to shoot our same shot every time. And tonight, the ball went through the hoop for us, and I pray that it keeps going. Like Coach said earlier in the season, if we shoot the ball well, we can play with anybody in the country. So I think tonight was a good showing of that. Like when we play Arizona, some balls went in and out. If those balls go down, I think we beat Arizona. So it's just a matter of us, you know, making sure we stay consistent.
Corey, you know, only being here 2 years, I don't know if you've really gone through something like this losing streak-wise, being at Oakland. What do you feel like you guys, you know, what you may be pulled from this if you guys, you know, lose a game or two to maybe prevent going on a slide like that again?
Well, it was definitely a learning experience. We just know that every game we have to come up from the beginning and play hard. Because if we slack a little bit, teams full ahead, and that's when we lose, you know. So we just got to stay ahead of us, stay ahead of the team.
Anything else for the players? Thank you both. Thank you. We'll continue with questions for Coach Kampe.
I really don't think we shot that well. The numbers bear out that we did, but I don't, and that's what I'm happy about. Is, you know, I mean, look at what we were from the 3. But what we did is the insertion of Bass in the lineup, and a Bass playing with confidence, and before his injury, he was heading to this. We get to ball the rim a lot harder and more. And now we also rediscovered Corey Petros tonight. And now they don't have a post player that, you know, like a Bell Holter or somebody like that that could guard him. So, but you know what? He scored against Michigan. He scored against Ohio U. He, you know, that had post players that can guard with anybody in our league. So hopefully we reinvented confidence in him. We reinvented confidence in our players getting him the basketball. When you can score close to the basket, the reason we shot such a high percentage the last few years is because we got so many baskets from Benson and Hudson by the basket. And tonight we did the same thing with Petros, with Reggie on the drive, with Lavelle on the drive, and with Bass on the drive, and then Valentine's always going to get 2 or 3 easy ones in there because of his hustle and his rebound. So that's why our shooting percentage was really good. We still haven't come out and shot the way I always thought this team could. I mean, I thought we'd have a 15 for 20 from the 3 night. I'd have, you know, and maybe we will and maybe we won't. But the way we played offense tonight was how we played in November, you know, early December, which it's been a while since we played, and that's just the way we moved. The ball moved, and we flew up and down the court, and we had no hesitation. We get a rebound and we're gone. We weren't looking like, you know, so it was good to see, but it was one game.
Questions for Coach Kampe?
Donnie.
Coach, with some of the lineup changes, how do you feel like, you know, some guys' minutes are going to get flip-flopped? How do you think, you know, that's going to be handled?
Well, Bader didn't start. He still played the most minutes on the team. He still played the most minutes all year. Petros still played 32 minutes. It's a way. What I like about it is if we get behind like we've been, then I don't get Kyle the minutes he needs to improve and get better for the future. Dante, the same thing. Now, Dante got in foul trouble, so he got 6 tonight. But I like this lineup. I like bringing, you know, we had 38 points off the bench. Well, earlier in the year, we were getting 3 or 4 points off the bench, so I like it. You know, I like that Bass has a chance now to establish himself as a player because we think he's a really good player. And instead of waiting until next year to find out, he's getting his opportunity now. I think Lavelle, you know, we were 0-5 with Lavelle in the starting lineup, and his minutes and production was better coming off the bench. So getting him off the bench again tonight, I think is good. He had very good production tonight. You know, he didn't shoot it real well, but he had 6 rebounds. He guarded extremely well, and he had 22 minutes. So I don't worry about those numbers more than I worry about the experience the kids are getting. And so I'm pleased with the way it's going.
You guys broke out the gray uniforms tonight, using those for big games, similar to Michigan with the maize uniforms. Is that significant? Does that represent just how much you guys needed this victory tonight?
Yep. That was the whole thing. Was we're wearing gray tonight. We have to win. This is a, you know, this has to get changed today, and we wore gray, and we played it like it was a great game. So I'm very, very, very pleased with tonight. I'm very pleased with what I saw. And again, it goes back to it wasn't a, you know, you didn't win by 1 point, get lucky, the other team played terrible. You know, we played tonight like we did in November, so that's a good sign.
Coach, talk about, you touched on it a little bit with LLP and the rebounding situation. Reggie had 6 rebounds as well. You've always talked about how important that is. You've stressed it in film sessions all the time. You've talked about rebounding from the guard spot. They came through tonight. You guys had 40 boards. You know, Reggie and LLP both had 6. Just how important is that, the rebounding from the guard position?
Well, in the last 2 weeks, we haven't gotten any rebounds because they haven't missed. I mean, we played, the numbers in the last 2 weeks, I've never seen in my whole life, I've never seen numbers that were going up against us. And, I mean, you could go in the gym without a defense and dummy your offense and shoot jump shots out of your offense and not put the numbers up teams were doing. So, you know, I thought we didn't rebound very well in the first half. I thought that was our one low point in the first half was we gave up 12 offensive rebounds. And we shored that up in the second half. They got 5 in the second half, and I think 3 or 4 of them were in the last 2 minutes. So I was pleased with that. But you got to have help from everywhere, and we did tonight.
Speaking of the second half, you guys got an equally efficient second half out of your team. Going into the locker room, I mean, was there any extra emphasis on making sure they maintain that first half intensity?
No, I didn't want to bring up the past at that time. I saw a team in the first half that was completely different than I'd seen in the last 3 weeks, and we talked about that. You know, I think the first thing I said when I went into the locker room is that's the team I remember watching play in November. And then we talked about the adjustments on the board, and we talked about why we were playing the way we were, and gaining our swagger back, and the movement we had on offense, and how the ball was flying around, and you know, and that's what we talked about. We didn't go hash out what's been happening to us. I didn't want to put a negative thought in their minds.
You got time for 2 more questions.
Coach, in sports, you know, all good teams go through, you know, tough stretches. Do you feel like that confidence might have been restored a little bit, or do you start to see pieces here and there that need to be, you know, kind of glued back together?
I don't know, because it's one game, and now we're off for a week. And, you know, I said the last game it's like a football team that wants to get into halftime. That's what we were, where we could get in and get a week of practice, and, you know. So I'm glad that this happened, but, you know, we can't just throw our hands up and say, okay, we're back. There's a reason what happened, and now we have to continue as a coaching staff to break the film down and look at the mistakes and figure those things out. But we are such a young team that it's a learning, you know, it's a very teachable moment, and, you know, showing this film to them is going to show them a lot of things that we haven't been doing. So I feel good, yeah, I really do. I feel good about us.
Final question back here.
Looking back on the losing streak now, is this maybe some of the growing pains that you expected early on in November, maybe, as opposed to sometime in the middle of the streak?
Right, and I thought we'd have some that we didn't early, but no one expects. When you're Oakland, you don't expect to lose at home, and you don't expect to lose 3 in a row at home. And we've lost 4 on the year in the arena. You know, you just don't expect that. So when you say, is this some of the things you expected? No, you don't. You never expect something like that. We have too proud of a tradition and too proud of a program to think something like this could happen. But it did, and you accept it, and you battle your way out of it, and that's what we did. We battled our way out of it tonight, and now let's take the next step forward.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Oakland Grizzlies will play the next